everybody. It's the Level Up Show. I'm Shawn McIntyre. I'm so excited for today's guest. He is the author of the best-selling book, The Hard Way. He's a speaker. He's the host of the top podcast, Dropping Bombs, and a successful entrepreneur. I want to dive right in. I want to welcome to the show, Mr. Brad Lee. How you doing, Brad?
Shawn, thank you for having me. I'm doing fantastic. Any other answer would be foolish.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for joining us today. We are live, and we have a lot of high achievers, success-driven entrepreneurs. So I couldn't think of a better person to have on our show. I've been following you now for a little bit, and when I got word of your story, Brad, it reminds me of myself. And you know, when I heard your book is called The Hard Way, I was like, okay, guys, we got to have Brad on, because that's also the story of my life. When you talk about the hard way, Brad, I know underneath a story is a lot of lessons, is a lot of wisdom and insights. How would you say that your backstory, everything you went through as far as what you call the hard way, actually served you, not just to where you are, but could you have gained the wisdom any other way other than how it showed up for you, the hard way?
Well, when you say it like that, my initial instinct is to say no, because, I had, for some reason, some sort of stubbornness and almost naivety that would require me to learn the hard way. So I would probably say no, but I wish that I would have been able to learn it through other people's mistakes, other people's challenges. That's the best way to learn. And I think if people understood that a little bit more, they don't have to go out and make the same mistakes everyone else did. Like, just learn from other people. That's what I wish I learned. But the way you said it, no, I probably wouldn't have. Like, you would have came along and gave me some great advice, and I wouldn't have listened.
Totally. No, I totally get it. That was the same with me. And when I look at you now, and there's a level of success that maybe is different than how you first began to understand yourself. How important is that aspect right there, Brad, in all success, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships? How important is that aspect right there of who am I? What do I really like? What do I really care about? And bringing that forward to everything you do.
Well, I think it's vitally important, only because, until you know yourself, it's hard to, be authentic. And authenticity is literally the highest vibration, uh, and the most attractive, by the way, vibration and frequency. And ultimately, it boils down to frequencies. What you frequently see becomes your frequency. So if you're constantly looking at the negative, eventually you're going to become negative. Authenticity is very, I would say, hard to achieve. But once you get there, it's like a magnet. And again, it could be a magnet for good, a magnet for bad, but it's still like a very powerful magnet. So when you get to know yourself, and you start to realize who you are, what you think, what you believe, what you stand for, and come into that and kind of start owning that, that's when you can be the best version of yourself. That's when you can stand on business. You can stop worrying so much about what everyone else thinks about you. See, that's when I was growing up, that's the worst thing ever. I had to be the coolest. I wanted to be the guy that everybody remembered as cool and fun and all this. And then you get a little older and you start to realize, man, it doesn't really matter what everybody else thinks about you. It matters what you think about you. So I started just kind of learning exactly what you said, who I am, what I believe, what I think. And the more I did, the taller I stood. And the more, I believe, confident I grew, because of the fact that I'm like angelic. You know what I mean? I'm a good dude. Like there, if someone talks bad about me, and fortunately there's not a lot that do, but if they're talking bad about me, they don't know me.
That's
And you can bet on that. Anyone that knows me, like actually knows me,
yeah.
says the same thing. Dude, if he says it, he'll do it. I just picked up a second Ferrari I don't even want. And my wife's like, well, then why go get it? And I said, because I ordered it and I said I would. And she's like, well, they'll sell it. It's not the same. I said I'm going to do it, and so I went and did it, even though I don't want to. So now I'm looking for someone to buy it. So if you want it, Shawn, let me know.
All
290.
right, let's talk. Let's talk. I do love Ferraris, man, and I have to say I did catch a little picture of it. So, yes, okay. Um, Brad, I love what you're saying, man. To me, authenticity is a superpower. It's a super skill, and I think it's probably the skill going into the future that's going to separate social media from AI, from people's opinions. I totally agree with you. I think that's the only thing that we stand on is learning how to understand and embody what that piece actually is.
Well, can I share with your listeners what I think is the most, let's say the key, because a lot of people are like, what's the key? And I always say there's really no key because it's more like a combination. So imagine if you're looking for a key to a combination lock, like it's a combination and everyone has their own. So there's no key to success. It's a combination and everyone has their own. So even if I give you my combination, you're not going to be able to open your combination lock because again, everyone has their own. So you have to figure out who you are, what you do. That's step one. Then you start to figure out what truly is success to you because sometimes it's not your second Ferrari or beach houses. Sometimes it's something completely different. So what I discovered, I think, is the key if there is one. And it's the craziest thing because we're all you hear about this all the time. It sounds cliche. We all possess it. We all are given the gift at birth. And incidentally, it's the key. You ready?
Let's hear it.
The key is called free will. Free will is the key. That's the power. God gave us free will to make choices. And those choices will determine whether you get where you're going or you don't get where you're going. The choices that you make every single day, starting with your vibration, starting with your frequency, your vibrational frequency. So when you wake up in the morning, some people choose, because that's what it is, Shawn. It's a choice to be all pissed off, and it's a choice to be mad and angry and envious and depressed. And well, Brad, that's a sickness. Hey, listen, I'm not talking about the one in a million, clinical case. I'm talking about
Totally.
everyday normal people. They wake up in the morning, they check their email, they check their social media, somebody didn't like their post, now they're fighting online, they're pissed off. That's a choice. You're choosing to do that. You're choosing to feel that way. So because we got free will, when you wake up in the morning, I say you have two choices. You can choose heavenly energy or you can choose earthly energy. Now, heavenly energy is what you might think is up there, love, courage, kindness, generosity. You can keep going. Now, earthly energy, that's what's down here on earth, which is greed, envy, anger, confusion. It's the darkness, and heavenly's the light. So you can make a choice every single day. That's your free will. That's the key. If you have the free will and you realize it and you take possession of it and you realize, man, this isn't rocket science. This isn't difficult. I have to choose to be this way. Bingo. You have to choose. So when you make the choice, that's the free will, that's the key. Choose heavenly energy. And if you walk around with a heavenly energy 24/7, regardless of what the earthly energy is surrounding you, brother, your light shines and your life improves dramatically. Why? Because your perspective shifts. You see things differently. Period. So again, everybody that wakes up in the morning, I choose to be grateful first. Why? Because I woke up. That is to me, especially now that I'm getting older. That right there is a gift. I don't need glitter to shoot out of a unicorn's ass for it to be a good day. Like I don't need a big deal to close for it to be a good day. It is a good day the second I wake up. So I am already at an advantage, I believe, over 99% of the people. Why? Because I'm in heavenly energy. I'm grateful. What does it do? Gives me a surge of energy. I leap out of bed excited to get the day started. Not, oh, I gotta work. I gotta make the donuts. I gotta take my kids to school. Oh, I got rent coming up. I don't have enough money. What am I gonna do? Like, believe it or not, man, and I know those pressures. I dropped out of high school at 16. I've had cars out for repossession. I've had shitty credit. I've been down on child support for 2 or 3 months behind. Okay, so
Yep.
like I've been there.
Yeah.
So when I say this, I don't say it from an ivory tower. I say it because I've been at the bottom and it's just a choice. I could have looked at things differently even in those situations. And I'll bet you my life would have been much easier had I done that. So folks that are listening, write down free will and then go investigate free will and start to understand what is free will and what does it actually mean. And really, it just means the ability to choose. So you have the ability to choose. So why would you choose anger over happiness? Why would you choose greed over generosity? Why? Because
Totally.
your energy, your vibrational frequency is what you attract. So if you're walking around angry, pretty soon you start to recognize all these other things to be angry about. And so now you're just getting more of it. Now think about this, and then I'll shut up because I know this was a long answer.
I love it.
What if God says, I love you so much, Shawn, whatever you choose with the gift of free will that I've given you, I will give you more of it. So if you choose anger, I will conspire the universe to give you more things to be angry about. If you choose happiness, well, then I'll do the same. So whether you choose heavenly or whether you choose earthly, I'm going to give you more of it because I love you so much and I want you to be happy is I mean, well, not necessarily happy. I want you to have a choice. So, in other words, what if I give you more of it? If you think like that, now start making some choices with that in mind. Like, I'm going to get more of whatever I choose. So, when you read a negative email and you start to get angry, use the emotion that you can't avoid as a trigger to remember you have a choice. Period. That's the power. That's the key. And if everyone can embody that and understand that, their life changed today.
Oh my gosh. Brad, thank you for sharing that. I think that's a tremendous way to start off here today. And I totally agree with you. And I have a question. I know that I can just level straight with you.
Every time.
So here's my question. Did you always know that or practice that?
I didn't always know that. I realized it. People say, when did you realize it?
Yes.
I think realizing after many bad experiences, you eventually just realize. So I don't know if it was a
Yes.
this
Yeah.
happened and I realized it. It was a gradual realization.
I love it. I so agree with you. I phrase it just a little bit differently, and I'm gonna just throw it out there because I love where this is going, Brad. I said you actually don't have free will. Okay, stay with me just for a sec. You don't have free will until you have expanded awareness. And so what I hear you saying, Brad, and I love what you're saying because I so agree with you, but I didn't know it either. So I had to discover it, exactly what you're saying. And would you agree with this? This was my experience. I discovered who I was to even have these choices by who I wasn't, by all of the hard way of doing life, bumping my head against, the rock, having failed marriages and not being the best dad and in the beginning because I didn't know how to be a good dad. I didn't have the conditioning coming back to what you were saying in the beginning. Oh my gosh, it would have been nice if I would have had this conditioning to start off. But so I love what you're saying. So how important is it, even though we do have, even though that is like such a high truth, that we have to explore, we have to dig in, we have to develop ourselves in order to utilize that truth. Would you agree?
Well, that's why I said go investigate free will. Like look into it, read books about it, Google search it, chat GPT it, like really investigate what it means. Because when you realize and when you do, it is kind of an awareness. Once you're aware of, wow, that makes total sense to me. Well, then you start to make different choices. And those choices are what matter. See, here's the thing. A lot of people are like they're unhappy with what they have. They want something more. They know they deserve something more. They just can't find it. Well, if you want something different, obviously you have to do something different,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
You can't do the same thing and expect something different. So
Yes.
you have to get something different, you have to do something different. The only way to do something different permanently is to change your behavior. Well, in order to change your behavior, you have to change your beliefs. It's all based on your belief system. So whatever you believe doesn't make it true, by the way, but whatever you believe to be true will cause you to behave the way you behave and choose the way you choose and get what you get. So again, I try to keep it simple for people.
Yes.
If you want to change what you're getting, you have to change what you're doing. If you want to change what you're doing, you have to change what you believe. And there's only one way to change what you believe. There's no other way to do it. There's only one way to change what you believe. You have to change the information that you've received. So basically, you have to receive new information. So once I realized that, I'm like, well, where is this information? Well, they're called books. It's the craziest thing. There's books out there. There's books that you read, which doesn't take a lot of time. There's no labor involved. You just read. Well, I hate to read. I hated to read till I was about 45 years old, and coincidentally, about 45 years old when I started actually changing what I believed, which started changing my perspective, changing my beliefs, changing my actions, changing my results. So there's going to be people that fight this. They might be listening right now. Well, it's not that easy.
Totally.
It's not that easy, Brad. You're just saying that because you got all this, you know, money and exposure and opportunities, and I'm stuck. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
It sounds cliche, but you get what you tolerate. That's the bottom line. If you want to rid yourself of all the bad things in life, take a piece of paper and write down every single thing you don't like. And then right at the top, stop tolerating these things. And if you truly, and that's a decision, you truly stop tolerating the things on that list, they will disappear. You get what you tolerate, period. So if you tolerate a bad relationship, you'll get them. If you tolerate low income, you'll get it. If you tolerate a shitty car, you'll get it. One time I was coaching this guy and I'm like, listen, do this exercise. So he wrote down his shitty car. He didn't want a shitty car. So when he got to his car, he goes, well, what do I do? I said, well, throw away the keys, sell it, get rid of it. He said, well, then I won't have a car. And I'm like, well, is your car better than no car? And he goes, absolutely. And I said, well, then you appreciate it. Move it over to the side that you appreciate.
Totally.
So again, once somebody realizes the simplicity of what I'm saying, they start to realize and become aware, man, life is not that difficult. I have to make better choices, starting from the second I open my eyes. So I say, number one, choose gratitude. Gratitude puts you in a different vibrational frequency.
Absolutely.
You cannot be angry and depressed and all this when you're grateful. So if you can figure out how to become grateful the second you open your eyes, your energy raises to what I call heavenly energy. Now you're in heavenly energy. The trick is to stay there because trust me, the world is going to bombard you with all kinds of earthly energy. So what do you need to do? You need to be aware of it. And when the negative starts bombarding you, remember it's a choice. I'm not going to choose to react this way. I'm not going to choose to get angry over this. I'm going to look at this differently. I have no money to pay bills. How am I supposed to be happy about that? believe it or not, there's people that would love to be in the position to need to find the money to pay for their rent. There's people that don't have an apartment, they don't have anything rented. You're in a better position than you think you are. So again, it sounds cliche, but in reality, it's the truth. It's the perspective that you have, it's the attitude that you have, it's the frequency that you carry. The energy that you're walking around with is the energy you're going to attract. So you simply choose a different energy, a better energy, gratitude, generosity, kindness. People say, well, how do I find happiness? You don't find it, you choose it. And I can prove that it's a choice. There's people, there's situations that if you put the two different people in the same situation, one's pleased and one's upset. How is that possible if it's not a choice? Well, it's because of the individual. The individual is choosing to look at it. There's a story I always tell. There's a rich kid and a poor kid, and they put the rich kid in this room full of
Oh,
shit.
hey, Brad, one sec, one sec. I think your camera is slowly falling down. If you can, will it sort of cutting off?
Worst case scenario, I can
There we
just
go. Okay,
switch it. I can switch it, but then the lighting's a little
that'll
different.
work. That's okay though. That's good. That'll work.
So there's a rich kid and a poor kid. So they put the rich kid in a room full of shit, and they put the poor kid in a room full of shit. And they come back in an hour, and the rich kid is mad, and the poor kid is playing. He's throwing it around, and he's just playing around in it. And so they asked the rich kid, "What's the problem?" He says, "What are you talking about? You put me in a room full of shit. What would you expect me to do? I'm pissed." And then they go to the poor kid, and they're like, "Hey, what are you so happy about?" And he says, "Well, with all this shit, there has to be a pony in here somewhere." So literally, it's just a perspective.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I love that. And you said something in there so key, Brad, which is it's one thing to make the choice and to create your way out, no matter where you are, how stuck you feel or you actually are. It doesn't mean it's a roadblock, but then it's a whole other thing creating success, but then keeping success is a whole other thing, isn't it? Like that's next level. Would you agree with that?
100%. It's like when entrepreneurs start doing business. They start out with nothing to lose, so they're willing to take all these risks, and then they start to get a little success, and then they start to have a little money, and they start to have something to lose.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden they shift their perspective from abundance to scarcity. Why? Because they don't want to lose it. They remember what it was like being broke. They don't want that. So now they start to change how they act and change how they think instead of, hey, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Now they're like, well, I don't want to lose what I've got. So
Right.
literally they go from abundance to scarcity and they don't realize that. So again, people are not aware of what they're doing, but ultimately what they're doing is they're allowing their belief system to control and dictate their choices when in reality you have free will. And I see why you said you don't really have it till you're aware, but you have it whether you're aware of it or not. You were gifted that by
Yes.
God. So,
Yes.
and again, I do believe in a creator. So at the end
Yep.
of the day, you're gifted that. So if you are aware of it, if you weren't aware of it, you are right now. Okay, you're aware. Um, it, it,
Totally.
so hey, welcome to the world. Now the question is whether or not you're going to implement the information, and it's not
Exactly.
and it's not a difficult situation. Now, life throws things at people to weed out the undeserving. So when it starts to get difficult, have you ever heard it's darkest before the dawn? Whenever
Absolutely.
things start to get difficult, believe it or not, I get excited. Why? Because I know I'm being tested. I'm about to break through. All I have to do is frickin' keep going.
Ah,
So I get excited when I get challenged, when I start to feel the pressure, when it starts to crash down on me is when I get the most excited. And every single time I break through to another level. It's like this is unbelievable. When it gets tough, what do most people do? They change. They start to get depressed. They start to feel like shit. They start to get nervous. They start to get anxious. They start to literally change their energy. And then they attract more of what they're choosing. So, so again, if you just like, well, wait a minute, I can't pay rent. Why would I be happy? Again, it's a perspective. It could be worse. I was pissed off that I couldn't afford new shoes until I saw a man with no feet. See what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, brother,
Totally. Totally.
it's all
Totally.
perspective.
You know, absolutely. And I have to be honest, with my own journey. Yeah, that has been it, and it's been a journey. And so I think for everyone who's listening and watching, um, it is a journey. And you said something so key, Brad, which is when that darkness comes in, it's actually not that something's wrong. If you stick with it, if you pay attention, if you become aware, it gives you the opportunity to shift your perspective. So it's like, no, no, don't run away. Don't shrink. Don't, it's like, no, no, this is an opportunity. And I think it strengthens you if you can face that darkness.
100%.
Absolutely.
So again, you pray for strength and
Yep.
then you curse the challenge. It makes no sense.
Well,
The
it's like
challenge.
being in the gym. It's like being in the gym. Wait a minute. Oh, I start to feel something. Oh, put it down. I don't like to feel that. No, you get stronger because of it. It's the resistance. It's that is actually building you. So, Brad, how? Because we're sort of shifting from okay, great, this is free choice and it's frequency and you have to continue to up level it in you. How much is your part and how much is the creator's part?
Well, the creator already did his part, and now it's up to you to do your part. He gave you the skills, he gave you the mind, he gave you the body, he gave you the life, he gave you all the opportunity. In this world, there is nothing but abundance. So there is abundance everywhere. There is no shortage of money. There's only a shortage of people willing to go after it. At the end of the day, it's your choice and it's your part. That's why he gave you free will. So I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people say, you know, I don't know if I'm going to heaven. Well, listen, at the end of the day, the price was already paid. Your ticket was already paid for. All you have to do is believe. Now, there's a lot of people that just refuse to believe. Oh, I'm not believing about some magic guy in the sky and blah, blah. Listen, if you ask me, you're a fool not to believe. You're a fool not to believe. Why? Well, it's not that difficult to believe it. Number one. Number two, the consequences of not believing sound a little bit steep to me. So when I hear about well if you don't believe, well then here's what happens, and if you do believe, here's what happens. It's like a no-brainer choice, but yet there's people out there that just want to refuse to believe. Why? Their belief system, the indoctrination, the things that they've learned and deemed to be true. I can't see it, so it must not be real. Can you see your mind? How much does your mind weigh?
Right.
What is the dimensions of your mind? What's its temperature? So everybody agrees that we have a mind, but nobody knows, not there's no doctor in the world that can say, there's your mind, it's this big, it weighs this, and this is where it's at.
Right.
So your mind is intangible, but you believe you have one. We all agree that we have one. So, well, then why do you have to believe? If you want to understand whether there's a creator or not, you start to look at the odds, okay? The odds of cells, like just in the human eye or the ear. The way everything has to be in order for it to be the way it is
No accident. No accident.
astronomically impossible. So
Correct.
therefore, there must be a creator. That's like looking at a car going, "Oh, I know what happened. It just formed itself over years of no, no, no. That's clearly created by somebody."
That's right.
So at the end of the day, a car is way less complicated than a human being. So if a car had to be manufactured, why wouldn't a human being? You think it just evolved out of a single cell or organism millions of years ago? Impossible. At what point did one become a giraffe and one become a rhinoceros and one become a bee and one become a butterfly and one become a snake and one become a monkey? Like, come on, man. It didn't happen that way. It was created. So I don't want this to become a religious, soapbox, but at the end of the day, I do believe there's a creator. That's just me. But I can also tell you that I've helped people for years now change their life. And there's only three key areas that I focus on. And I
Okay.
think these are the pillars that anyone focuses on and masters, they're going to find whatever it is they want. Number one is the mindset. Okay, you have to get the right mindset. You have to find your true self. You have to look
Mm,
inward. It's not an outward thing, it's an
yes.
inward thing.
Yes.
Once you have the mindset, then you have to realize that even with a positive outlook and an abundance mentality,
Yep.
you still have to have some skills. Because when you look around the world, usually it's the best that get the attention, that get the money, that get the fame, that get the rewards, the financial rewards. So you have to now go focus on your skills. What skills do you possess? What are you good at? And if the answer is nothing, well, if you have the right mindset, then you realize you can get good at anything. You just have to practice, put in the work, put in the repetitions, right? You can get good at anything. So
Totally.
you have to master your skill sets, and then it's your daily habits. Your daily habits are literally going to determine your future. So if every day you wake up and you have discipline, which by the way is a choice, people say, "Well, I don't have discipline." You're choosing not to have discipline because discipline is a choice. It's not a characteristic that you're born with. Like
Totally.
you either choose it or you don't. So at the end of the day, that's a choice. So your daily habits. Because there's people that are really positive and their mindset's right, but they're not very good at anything. So it doesn't really work out. Then there's people that are really positive and they're very talented, but their daily habits are terrible. And so things don't work out. But if you get your mindset right, you'll realize that skills are just a matter of discipline, repetition, practice. Then you get your daily habits down. You're unstoppable. And your daily habits should include gratitude,
Yes.
uh, physical and mental and spiritual exercise, like work out, eat right, like read, um, networking, relationships. That's a whole nother thing. Like, guys, if you really want to know something that'll blow your mind, everybody that wants more money has to understand that every dollar you've ever received or will ever receive comes from some kind of relationship. So if you
Mm,
want more money, get more relationships. I always say the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
mm,
The truth. So
love that.
if you want more money, get more relationships. You
Right.
don't know the right people. That's why you don't have everything you want. If you knew the right people, you would have everything you wanted. So go out, introduce yourself to five new people every single day. If you already know them, then you didn't do it. But how hard is it, Shawn, if I said to you, Shawn, you want to be whatever, let's say a billionaire, and I say to you, okay, every day I want you to go out and I want you to introduce yourself to five new people.
Yep.
Within a year, you've met over 1,000 new people, and you will have untold amount of opportunity within those people that you've met. Relationships are the key. When we're born, we require relationships or we perish.
Totally.
When we die, nobody's asking to see their bank account one last time. When you die, all you care about are relationships. But somewhere in the middle, we forget. We're born, we require them. We die, we desire them. Why do we forget in the middle why they're so valuable? So relationships over money is what I always say. If
Totally.
you focus on money over relationships, soon you'll have neither. You have to understand
Oh,
relationships are.
Well said. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's brilliant right there. I love that point. When I'm here, so just to recap, you're talking about a mindset, a skill set, and then discipline. And I totally agree. And I love what you said as far as, networking, meeting new people. How important, as I listen to you talk about this, Brad, how important is your own growth in your own personality, in your own identity? We hear these things, leave the old self behind, step into the new self. How much does that have to be focused on? Or just by focusing on growing and just constantly moving towards something, like you said, mindset, skill set, discipline,
Habits.
habits, habits. Yeah.
Because again, discipline you already have. You're just choosing not to implement it. If you knew that you're
Discipline in something. You have discipline in your non-choice of whatever you want. Some people are very disciplined in that aspect.
well, again, I mean, everyone already has discipline. They're just not implementing it. If I told you right now, your children will die if you don't do this every single day, you'd have no problem doing that every single day.
Absolutely.
So
Ab-
again, you have it. You're just choosing not to use it. That's why I say it boils down to choice. Every time it boils down to choice. Your
True.
choice is what is the true key.
Yeah,
Choices, the choices you make determine the road that you take. If you want to end up a billionaire, it's just a series of choices. And most people think they're big ones. They're not big, massive choices that you have to make. They're little daily choices that you have to make. Little insignificant choices lead up to major ones. So at the end of the day, if you don't want any major decisions, then just make really good small ones. And what's crazy about how life works is you don't have to make them all perfect. You can screw up 20, 30% of the time and still get where you're going.
totally.
So it's not a
Totally.
rocket science complex, theory. It's just like, wait a minute, I get to choose, and if I choose, I call it heavenly. If I
Yep.
choose
Love
heavenly
that.
energy, well then, I'll get more of that. Okay, well, listen, I already know. I want to live in the light. I don't want to live in the dark. I want to be happy. I don't want to be sad and depressed and lonely and angry and pissed off. So again, if it's up to me, which it is, well, then why am I choosing to do this? So when someone's pissed off, you
Yep.
chose to be pissed off. If right now, Shawn, I just made some rude comments and you got angry and we got off this thing and someone said, "Hey, what happened?" And oh, he pissed me off. Dude, you chose to be pissed off. That's the truth. I can't choose for you.
It is so true. It is so true. Yes. And I think that's a massive point. And I think that's, when you say that the creator has already done the creator's work, it's up to us. I think that that's an aspect, developing your mind, developing your emotional strength. Would you say that the emotions is a part of your skill set? If you can just focus on growing yourself to just be unstoppable in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, even physically, it's like, okay, good. Isn't that a level of peace right there?
100%. And you know what it really boils down to? It's the relationship you have with yourself.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
again,
Yes.
you have to focus on relationships, and the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. If
Love
you have
that.
a really good relationship with you, then you can have better relationships with others. And that's just a fact. I don't know what the hell's going on with my camera. I'm switch back and forth. But the relationship with
Yeah.
yourself is key. That's where you develop and you learn and you gain authenticity and you start to realize, like, that's why I say it doesn't matter what other people think. It's not because I don't care what other people think. I want everyone to think I'm cool and like me and all that. But if you don't, that's okay. And the reason why is because I like me. I already know my heart. I already know my intentions, and they're golden. They're angelic. Nobody can
I
convince
love
me
that.
differently. So,
Right.
so when I wake up in the morning, I swear to you, this sounds cliche again, but I literally focus on how can I help people? I am an asset to society. I am not a scammer. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I will never take your money unless I believe that I can give you that or greater value. Um, I am doing nothing in this world other than contributing and helping, period. So when I see someone on social media go, oh, this guy's a snake oil salesman, first of all, no, I'm not. And second of all, it doesn't bother me because I know that person doesn't know me, period.
Bingo.
Know me. If you know me, then you already know that that's not true. So at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, I know me. And that's why I walk around with some confidence that people are like, dude, how are you so confident? Well, because I'm a good person.
Yeah. Yes. And you exercise that. You exercise that with your family. You exercise that in your business. You exercise that with yourself. You practice knowing yourself and growing yourself. And so when you say it, like I'm an asset to society, to myself, to every, I believe you because I feel it, because it's true, and it's not arrogant, because when it's true, this is the frequency too. It's like, I believe we can all feel that. And I think that us knowing ourselves, coming full circle to, how you started with this, is, yeah, to know yourself, it's going to take some work to grow yourself. But I love what you said. Like, that is not arrogant or cocky. That is confidence in its like truest sense of knowing yourself. Would you agree?
100%. Just like if you let's say you have a neighbor and they've got a really nice car and every day you see that car, it's dirty, it's dinged up, it's filled with garbage, cracked windshield, bird shit all over it. Do you think they value that car?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so now when you look at someone out of shape, like, and again, I've been out of shape more than I've been in shape. So I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm not fat shaming. I'm just simply pointing out the truth. And the truth is, if you're out of shape physically, it's 9 times out of 10 because you don't value yourself. If you valued yourself, there's no option. And now take the other opposite. Now you see somebody with an older car, not that expensive, not that nice, but always pristine, spotless, taken care of like you wouldn't believe. Do you think that person appreciates that car? And if the answer is, well, obviously. Okay, so now take a look at yourself. Are you taking care of yourself? No. Well, then the first thing in my head is I wonder why they don't think they're worth it. I wonder why they don't value themselves. You know, there's people that don't appreciate their wife, for
Yes.
example. Well,
Yes.
you realize when you appreciate something, it appreciates. So you want more value, give more value. It's so simple when you look at it from a different perspective. Some people, I think it's common sense. I'm like, I can't believe people don't realize this, but the truth is they don't. And how do I know? Well, because again, I get a lot of people being on social media and getting the following that I have, that they're DMing me, and a lot of people ask me questions, and I'm thinking to myself, well, like, duh, like you didn't realize this. And then I realized, dude, there's a lot of people that have no clue that this is the case. And so they're stuck in this constant, cyclical rut.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I try to tell them, listen, stop choosing those things. They're like, you don't understand. It's not me. It's this person and that person and this person and that circumstance. That's called victim mentality. That is a
Yes.
victim mentality. That is
Yes.
poor me. I
Yes.
would be successful if you did something else. No, 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 no. Trust me, folks. Go look in the mirror, and that's the person that can save you. It's the only person that can save you. So why don't you start being nice to that person? Why don't you start kissing that person's ass? Why don't you start obeying
Totally.
and serving that person? Well,
Okay.
everyone will think I'm selfish. Okay, so again, now you're worried about what everyone else thinks. And
Right.
you want to know what's ironic? Most people don't think about you as much as you think they're thinking about you.
Bingo.
So nobody
Bingo.
cares. Nobody cares.
Bingo.
At the end of the day, go get what you want out of life because it's not going to be that long. And I'm 56 and I'm telling you, I feel 26. It's like I have no pains, no aches, thank God. Um, but when you start to get older, you start to get a more acute sense of mortality.
Yes.
Then you start to realize, like, damn, dude, even if everything goes well, I'm over half over. I've only got maybe 30 summers left. 30, 40 maybe. If I'm lucky, 50 summers.
Yeah.
50 summers. Damn, I got to get busy. Exactly. You got to get busy, friends. And then with AI, folks, AI
Mm.
is going to, people think AI is going to replace all these people. AI is going to replace people that are leveraging AI with, like for example, embrace AI.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the skills that I always talk about. Okay, people come to me, what do I do? Okay, number one, these are the skills I think you need in this economy to make a lot of money. Number one, sales and closing. Folks, everybody's a salesperson, whether you think you are or not.
Yes.
You need the skill, and it is a skill, sales and closing. Okay, influence, persuasion, all of that, sales and closing. Then you're going to need marketing. Why? Well, you if you have no one to talk to, it doesn't matter how good you are at selling. You're not going to sell anybody anything because there's no one to talk to. So you need marketing, people to talk to. You need communication, the ability to communicate. And communicate isn't what you say, it's what people hear. Because if I say to you guys, blah, 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 there's no communicating there. There's only communication when somebody hears it and understands it. Then you've communicated. The question is how well do you communicate? That's a skill. Then you're going to need personal branding. AI equals no trust. You can't trust the world even more with AI. So a personal brand's even
Absolutely.
more important. It's so
Mm.
vitally important. Personal branding is a skill. Then you need relationships, right? The skill of networking, the skill of finding, attracting, and nurturing relationships, building relationships. That is a skill. And then AI. You need to leverage AI. AI is not a thing that may or may not come eventually. It's here.
Yeah.
It's getting stronger every day. And I would not be afraid of it. I would be using it because you're not going to get replaced by AI. You're going to get replaced by somebody that's using AI.
Well said. Oh my gosh. Totally. Totally. And I think all of these things, whether it was the internet, how many years ago, AI, it's just allowing us to not have to struggle over money, not have to struggle over the things that keep us um, in low worthiness. We can generate more money. We can generate more of everything. It can actually be a divine tool because the creators created everything. It's just a tool that we can now work on ourselves and not have to think about money all the time or think about all of the bills or challenges. And we can actually become the people. Would you agree with that? This is a massive opportunity here?
Well, I think there's opportunity everywhere. In every situation, there's opportunity everywhere. And
Yeah.
that's a perspective. Some people think, well, there's no opportunity. I hate when people say that because believe it or not, there is opportunity everywhere in every
Yes.
market, every downturn. There's people making money when Bitcoin goes down. There's people making money when Bitcoin goes up. When real estate goes down, there's people making money. Like there's opportunity everywhere. The question is are you seeing it? And
Mm.
most people, they don't see opportunity, they see risk. Well, risk is opportunity. Problems are opportunity. So when you say, I don't want any problems, what you're saying is, I don't want any opportunity. If you
Mm.
want to get very, very wealthy, quit thinking about making money and just
Right.
start thinking about how can I help? Who can I help? What problems can I solve? What can I do that will solve problems for other people, not myself, other people?
That's
Now,
right.
sometimes if you solve your problem, you look around, a lot of people were having that problem. So technically, you solved their problem too. So, how do I solve problems?
Yes.
I look around every day. How can I help somebody? How can I help my employees? How can I help my followers? How can I help you? Like, how can I help? That's all I want to do is help. And coincidentally, the more people I help, the more money I make.
I love it. I love that. Brad, I wanna thank you for taking the time to join us. And what are some of the projects that you're focusing on now? How can we follow you? What is it that you're really passionate about right now, and we can tune in with you and get involved with you? Where Tell us a little bit about what's next for you.
Well, right now, I am focusing on building my ecosystem into a massive movement slash empire. So, my ecosystem, I have multiple companies, and fortunately, they're all, doing well. So, at one point, I decided I wanted to, hire some people and grow and scale. So I put an ad out to hire some people. Well, I had a whole bunch of people show up and they weren't really as good as I needed or that they thought they were. So I said, well, here, let me train you. Okay, because I have a training technology. That's one of the companies I have. And so I'm like, well, let me train you. So then I put together this unbelievable training system that trains mindset, skill set, habits like nobody's business.
Awesome.
Literally life-changing content. Like you hear that, but this is like why? Because we fix you first. We don't worry about your sales ability until we worry about the you ability. We got to
Yes,
get you standing up straight. We got to get you believing right. We got to get you a little more confidence. We got to get you, a different belief system. So we work on the person first. That's why it's so effective. And then we go skill sets and habits. But essentially, I put the ad out. People came in. They weren't very skilled. Believe it or not, I don't know what's going on, but it's just hard to find great people. So I figured, well, let me make great people. So I put together this training system, this whole curriculum, and then people weren't showing up. People were like saying that they're in, but then they had no discipline. So I changed one thing and it's working like a crazy person. I started to require a deposit. I said, I'm only willing to do this if you're willing to bet on yourself. So I required a deposit. People started putting a deposit, which sits in the bank. And when they complete the program, I give them their deposit back. And if they quit, well, then they don't get their deposit back. And we're very clear up front. Don't put the deposit if you think you're going to quit. And then people commit. And again, sure, some of them quit still, but the deposit seemed to get people to show up. You ever heard if they don't pay attention?
absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
that seems to be true. So that's what I'm doing. I put together a program because I need tons of salespeople. People are like, well, wait a minute. Why would I pay for a job? Well, first of all, it's a deposit. You're not paying. You're putting a commitment deposit down. So I know that you're worth even talking to.
Totally.
But that's bringing in a lot of people. Fortunately, there's a lot of people that understand the value of training and development. So they're putting a deposit, and then I'm giving them the job at one of my companies in a sales position. Because when people ask me, Brad, I mean, my brothers, it doesn't matter who, if they just want the truth, then I'll give everybody here the truth. This is the truth, people. If you want, I'm talking about financial success, because just because you're rich does not make you successful. Okay. You
Totally.
could be rich and lonely and miserable. So
Yes,
money is not the key. The money is part of my combination. I need money, but it is not, doesn't mean you're successful. But I'm going to say financially successful. If you're listening to this right now and you want to be financially successful, the first thing you need to find out is, are you in the position to receive commission? Because
mm,
if you're not in a position to receive commission, whether it's entrepreneur, you own a business, you're in sales of some kind, or affiliate, whatever, you
yep,
got to be in the position to receive commission. You're probably not going to be financially successful. That's just the truth. The the
yep,
the, the richest people that I know, anyone that's actually financially successful is selling something.
totally.
They're selling something. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when I look around, this person's successful. They're selling something. This person's successful. They're selling something. Do you think Bezos sells stuff? He sells more stuff than anybody. Elon Musk sells stuff. Donald Trump is selling. Everybody is selling. So you must get in the position to receive commission. So what I'm passionate about is I believe that I've developed a program that can literally change a human being's perspective, their life, and then I give them a position at one of my companies. And all the companies are growing. They get to choose which company they work for. I don't care. You want to work for the software company, you want to work for the merchant processing. Are you looking for massive recurring revenue, or are you looking for just quick income? Like, I've got a whole plethora of companies. So they come through the program, and then they get placed in a position to receive commission with all the mentoring and coaching and guidance and hand holding they need for as long as they need to win. And so in my mind, I found the like, I think it's the best alternative. I think it's better than college. You know, why? Well, because again, assuming somebody implements everything,
Exactly.
it's almost guaranteed. And the reason I say almost, I can't control people. So if they quit, if they don't implement, obviously nothing's going to happen. It's not a miracle pill. It's a freaking pathway that took me and a lot of people that I've already shown to the next level. And then once you get to the next level, which I call the next level like discretionary income. Because if you think about it, Shawn, there's people that make decent money, but they have a lot of bills, and basically there's no discretionary income to invest. Because if you
Totally.
want real wealth, you're going to have to invest.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
can't invest until you get a little discretionary income. So I thought, let me start at the bottom. Why? Well, because that's where I came from. That's where I used to be, and I understand the people that are there. And so if I could help a whole bunch of people get to a level of, let's say, 200,000 or 300,000 a year without raising their lifestyle, because that's what people do. They start making more money, and then they start getting nicer cars, and pretty soon they're just broke at another level.
You got it.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Eventually that's going to run out, then you're going to start losing all your stuff. So what you do is you raise your income, and then you maintain your lifestyle, and now you've got that discretionary income, and then you start to buy cash flowing assets, real estate, other things, and then pretty soon your education, your experience over that couple of year period, you start to realize, like, dude, this is what I've been missing. And believe it or not, all these rich people, they already know this stuff.
Totally. Totally. Wow. So where can we follow you to check that out? And I love what you said, because, and I think going into the future, if you don't have an entrepreneurial mindset where you're looking for opportunities and you're still in the employee, and this is not fear because it's already happening, people are being re-guided, downsize corporations, and sort of really take a look at how to develop yourself, invest in yourself, I think is key. So where can we check that out, Brad?
Well, if anybody like wants to get in that program and start making money in that capacity, you can go to workwith.bradlee.com. Workwith.bradlee.com. That's where you put in an application, because we don't hire everybody. We interview you and make sure that you're the right fit. But workwith.bradlee, that's LEA.com.
Perfect.
To me, I mean, you can Google me and kind of
Yep.
see me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Right.
And by the way, if there's people that aren't quite ready, they're not in a position, or they just don't feel like, I don't know. Well, then again, go get The Hard Way, which is the book. Go follow me on social media where I'm dropping, value all day, every day. Go to my YouTube channel. There's tons of free videos there that'll get you kind of leveled up a little bit. And if everything that you see from me is like, oh, I don't buy this, I don't like this, I don't want this, well, then here's what you do. You just find this little button. It's called unfollow or unsubscribe, and you click it. That's all you got to do.
Brad, an absolute joy, pleasure, dropping lots of wisdom. What can I say? Thank you so much. And we'll be providing those links on replays. And thank you so much. This has been an absolute joy, man.
Well, you were welcome. I was expecting some hard questions.
All right, well, maybe that'll be the next show. We're just getting warmed up. So, hey, Brad, thanks again.
Hey, thank you for having me.